All right, so it's December. Let's go ahead and do the final book haul of the year. So what I've got here is a few newer trade paperbacks, and then the rest of the other books are mass market paperbacks. Kind of what I normally do, I'm going to start off with kind of the trade paperbacks and things I'm not quite as excited about and kind of save the best for last. So I've got the Hopkins manuscript by R.C. Sheriff. And I came across this one. I forget which book I did, but it was a post-apocalyptic book. And I asked the community if there's any other old post-apocalyptic that they could recommend. And this book came up. I'd never heard of it. I did some research and I found a copy, so I'll be reading that at some point. And then I have yet to read anything by Ian M. Banks, and most people say to start with this book, The Player of Games. And so I was able to find this trade paperback at my local bookstore, and I figured this would be a good place to start, and I'll probably get to him soon. I feel slightly ashamed I haven't read anything from Banks. Now, I got The Calculating Stars. This is by Mary Cowell, I believe. And I think this won a Hugo, so at some point once I finish my series that I'm doing, I'm probably going to try to finish reading all the Hugo Award winning books, even the more modern ones, so at some point I'll be getting to that. And then here's another newer one that I'd heard some things about, Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill. Sounds pretty interesting. I think this book is pretty much just from the point of view of robots. So when I get into the mood to kind of read something a little bit more recent, I've got some now ready to go. So a book that I was going to be reading soon, where is it at? George Alec Effinger's When Gravity Fails. This book, I never heard of this, but this is on this list of the masterpieces of science fiction that I'm doing. And Matt over at Science Fiction Reads recently read it, and it sounds pretty interesting. I've been trying to find the other two books in the trilogy. So I found A Fire in the Sun. This is the sequel to that book. And it's pretty cool. They all kind of have kind of the same art style. And this one's in really good shape, so I was really happy with that. And then I placed an order from a place. They said the book was in very good condition. It is in very good condition, except for this big rip here in the front, or this big kind of missing piece of the cover. And so I contacted the bookseller and said, that doesn't look like very good. So they sent me another one. It doesn't have a big rip on the front, but it does have some pretty bad spine creasing amongst some other issues. So there's some like sticker residue on it too. So I'm still probably going to be looking for a better edition of The Exile Kiss, but we got that. Okay, now let's get into some more vintage paperbacks. We got The Fuzzy Papers by H. Beam Piper. And this is, I think, kind of an old classic, kind of maybe pulpy. I don't know too much about it. I think it was written quite a while ago. And I believe this is a compilation of a bunch of different stories, maybe. It was written in 1962. So it says, complete in one volume, Little, Fuzzy, and Fuzzy Sapiens. So, kind of an interesting one there. Got a Rogers Lasny, To Die in Italbar. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And this is a nice DAW. Really good condition. Got Robert Sheckley, Journey Beyond Tomorrow. And here we have a Dell edition. With kind of that green text block. I found The Adventures of Alex by Joanna Russ, and this is a Timescape Pocketbooks edition. Found this at my local bookstore for $1. It does have a little bit of a lean, but Joanna Russ, she's hard to find, and for $1, I figured why not. Got Mac Reynolds. This one's called Ability Quotient. Kind of an interesting cover. Don't know much about Mac Reynolds, but looked like an interesting one. Now we got another DAW. This one is Tim Huntley, One on Me. And then subtitle is After Me, Utopia is full up. Got this one mostly for the cover because I hadn't heard of this author. And I passed by a lot of DAWs, but I've started taking a little bit more notice on them. Then we have Redshift by Alan Gardner. This I got kind of in a lot of books that I got off of eBay. And I was kind of getting ready to maybe put this in my discard pile or donate pile. And I was looking up some information. It was hard to figure out what this book was about. It's pretty short, but I found a video review where someone did a review of that book, and it sounded pretty interesting. So I'm going to keep it for now. Maybe someone that watches this video can give me a little bit more insight on this one. I don't know if it's like a cult classic, if it's a YA, or what the deal is with it. There's just something about it. Then I got Gordon R. Dixon, Wolf and Iron. And I saw this one at the bookstore. It's in really good shape, and I've never seen this before, and I'm a sucker for dogs and wolves and stuff. And so I read the back. It seems kind of interesting, and yeah, maybe we'll give that a go at some point. Got another Gordon R. Dixon, Hour of the Horde, and this is a DAW. Then I think this is the last DAW of this lot. It's called Pandora's Planet by Christopher Anvil. Once again, I mostly got this one for the cover. I don't know much about this author or the book. It's kind of got an interesting cover, that's for sure. And then I got Rama Revealed. In my last book haul, I thought I had all the Rama books, but then when I was shelving that last book, which I think was Rama 2, I realized that there was still one missing. And then I went to my local bookstore, and they had a perfect copy of it. I think I paid a little bit more than I wanted to for this, like $4 or something, but still not a bad deal. Okay, now the last is all Clifford Simak, and I used to collect a lot of Clifford Simak back in the early 2000s. I had almost all of his hardbacks. I didn't have some of the really expensive, like I think it's City, the Gnome Press edition of City. Look that book up, it's really cool. Gnome Press is just a really cool publisher. I never got a copy of that, but I had a bunch of other hardbacks. At the time, I was never collecting paperbacks. But when I started getting back into collecting and starting this channel, I realized Clifford had kind of gotten popular again, and good for him. He deserves it. But it was hard to find some books. And when I was down in Arizona, I found some kind of, I would say, harder to find Simak books, and kind of got me looking a little bit more. And I scoured the net, found a few sites that had some books that I bought, and then I got a really big lot on eBay. As soon as someone listed it, I snagged it. It was a really good deal. So let's just go through them all. So we got Cemetery World, and this is a Berkeley edition. I've got some of these books now in multiple editions, and it's kind of cool. It's, as a collector, it's kind of bad because then you're trying to collect every different version of every book, and some of these authors, they have so many different versions. Then we have this one called The Trouble with Tycho, and this is an ace. And what's cool here is this back is just another bigger version of the front. And then I've also got So Bright the Vision, which is a collection of short stories. And it's got the back cover too. So these are kind of part of the same art style, and I looked it up. There's a few others they came out in that style, so I might have to look for those. Really like this one. This is Cosmic Engineers. This is, I think, Clifford's first like published novel. And this is an older paperback edition from Paperback Library, issued at 60 cents. Really like that covered. And then we've got a couple more fantasy. He did write a little bit of fantasy. This one's called Enchanted Pilgrimage. And this was kind of part of this Del Rey fantasy series. Another one, Where the Evil Dwells. Same thing. This was kind of done under the Del Rey fantasy. Then we have a couple more Del Reys. We have Highway of Eternity. I believe this was Clifford's last published book. Macedonia. This might be one of the books that I try to read of Cliff's soon that I haven't read before, because I'm really getting into this kind of anthropology, science fiction. I don't know exactly if that's part of that, but then I got 2 editions of Time and Again. This one is one of these short Ace, and it's pretty small. I'll show you a regular size paperback in a second. Pretty cool, issued at 40 cents. Now here we have a regular paperback, so you can see there's a little bit of a size difference. But this one was issued by Ace again, but just a later edition. And last but not least, we have Why Call Them Back from Heaven, and this is the Ace Science Fiction Special Edition. And so I'm really excited to have this one. So that's it for this one. It's been a great year, first year on BookTube. Excited for 2024, more book hauls, more content, book reviews, all that stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.